Wake up, goddammit. This is MARKETcast with Unk and Market Monk. What's up, P? How was your week?
Really good. Just kind of stayed on some things from last week with net in particular. Just a really good short there. Got Lynn with that helium stock just went crazy on for me, and then a couple other things. Got back into oil some. The Devon spot we got was just about perfect, and yeah, then just some earnings craziness. Beyond Meat doing its thing. Just kind of enjoyed it, but overall, the we saw the market pull back. Just the time to be kind of be cautious going long on a lot of stuff, just with these reactions we're seeing. Not really thinking we're in a full on big flip crash or anything like that, but yeah, good time to be cautious. Maybe size down a bit.
Yeah, definitely on that. The sideways are down, probably more more down than sideways this week. But
Yeah.
being prepared for it really kind of helped. I ain't gonna lie, I was heavily dependent on the socials for profit this week. When that OCEA one ran early in the week, you kind of seen how they were gonna play.
Yeah.
So that's where more of the money was. But the overall not a week making goal, just a week to take some off the table because stuff wasn't really holding. But the levels are a lot of levels are holding on a lot of stuff. Um, I'm stuck in this idea that we can't really go much farther up without a catalyst, and we can't. We're not going to break through these levels without a reason. Like we've leveled up, getting back through these resistance. It's also going to take a reason, which leaves us in what we've talked about for a few weeks, being range bound.
Yes,
Super hard to
and by
trade.
the so the path of least resistance for selling is big Dow Jones safety stocks, and that'll be something I'll talk about. And I put one up in Bear Cave today, which was DuPont, and I've been on Honeywell, HON, and I talked about Johnson and Johnson being bearish. So kind of those are the spots. But as that pullback happens, that is not some dramatic crash in the market. That's not Apple dropping 20% or something like that. So yeah, it's just the kind of buyers and sellers just kind of seeking out where they can, pull things back or bounce things. It's just not dramatic moves. So I think that's where the sideways comes from for sure.
Yeah, I mean we're definitely on a little lower volume than we were in January. At least on
Yeah.
most of the stuff
Yeah.
I watched, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But overall, it just seems like I mean, some of this stuff had a really good run. I don't have a buy. I want to say 100%, but that's only a few names. But a good 50 to 100% runs on a lot of names. And they're not giving that back by any means. I mean, yes, they gave 10, maybe 15 back, but they're not giving all that back. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's
Like
it's
coin
coming.
is still what it was $35 and
Yeah,
it's 58. So
but
yeah.
it's coming from other parts of the market, like
Yeah.
that we are
Yeah.
back below 400 now because we are definitely moving down. It's coming from other parts of the market. Um, that coupled with low volume seems like we're in a world of pain. I don't think we are yet. If we are
No,
headed that
no,
way,
I
this is
don't.
not it.
Yeah. And by the way, so like in this environment, I mentioned those Dow stocks, but if you're an options trader, you want in a low volume set scenario, you want low IV stocks. And the reason for that is that 1.5% pullback on Honeywell is going to give you what a 10% move on coin would give you, and in terms of the premium movement. So like that's where if you're an options trader, you really want to study that, because if you just always want something to trade, and that's how I am, like I do
Hmm.
want to find something. I don't really sit on my hands, just not my style. Then that's where the safer plays are. is, you go from low IV, moves, to higher IV as they pull back, but your entry is kind of protected. And it's also, if you're in a put, it's not likely to just take off 3-4% on you in a day. So that's kind of where you have to know the market you're in, and if you're an options trader, you're not always looking for the big, AI 30% move in a day. There's other places to go, and I think we're kind of in that spot right now.
Yeah. And on the share side, I guess it's a technical share side, but I always look, for what's either going against the grain or what's holding when everything else is bleeding in a certain sector.
Yeah,
Then as we get to the end of the week, I'm like looking for things that are either holding trend or again went against the grain. Um, and I'm not going to go over the different filters I have, but I do scan inside bar on several different time frames. If you don't know what inside bar is, I would definitely Google it. But my short little sentence on it. It's there was a big bar and there's a little bar and the next bar inside of it on the same time frame. So it stays inside the same price range whether you're looking at 5 minutes or the day. Um, but here's the days, or excuse me, here's the inside bars on the week of stuff that we follow from last week. And normally these lists are like 5, maybe 7. But I got S space Twillo, Upstart, Mara, PLTR, Airbnb, CLF, Cop, Cody, Crocs, Devon, FLSY, Fubo, Net, Roblox, and Stitch Fix.
yeah.
That's a list. They're not giving up what they made last week. And that's kind of what I'm looking for here is just what's holding and then a catalyst for a reason for us to go back up. Because that's what we've done since August, But it's been following the Feds. Eventually, I think we're going to detach from the Feds. If not, we're about to have 4 weeks of hell. Get used to
Yeah.
get used to what we've
There's
had.
beyond your kind of like intraday moves, like Bullard talks and the market drops or something like that. There's an argument to be made that the market doesn't believe the Fed in some ways, just in terms of like needing to go higher for longer, all of that, and they're so that I agree. Sort of like how inflation had kind of diminishing returns each time as inflation kept getting
Yeah.
worse, the
Yes.
market kept expecting it. So yeah, that definitely
Well,
that definitely could be it.
did we not just get some horrible change trend inflation numbers this week? That
Yeah,
was
we did.
against yeah,
Right.
and look, we didn't just
But
hit the floor.
it no, it didn't drop 3-4%. It drops 2% and then comes back. And then, like I said, like I've talked about a lot, most of the move is pre-market. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why the chasing puts is a bad idea. And because you're just not, you might get 0.2% more down or whatever, but it's gonna, it's gonna come back. So the people who really get destroyed, it's like you want to be careful, right? So you watch. So I don't want to hold overnight, so I'm going to be careful. And then you watch it drop, and it's like, okay, this will probably come back a little. I'm still going to be careful. You keep waiting for confirmation, and then they buy puts at the bottom. So that's where trying to be careful can really burn you. And you have to just sort of get over your bias and understand that on a Friday, especially, they're going to look for some equilibrium and they're going to try to bring it back up to whatever some level they have in mind for SPX or whatever. But that's where you got to follow Tupac on that stuff. I think
Oh yeah,
he'll be
intraday
playing.
for sure.
Yeah, he'll be playing calls while half of 3/4 of Twitter's talking about market collapse. He'll be in calls, and you'll do better. So that's kind of where I go there.
Yeah, I'm in intraday right now. I think you're playing with fire. Um, you pretty much got to have a plan, and you just got to stick to it. Um, and have a plan for have a plan for both directions, I guess. Shout out to SQQQ.
Uh,
um,
yeah, all right, and I think net was actually a good example of this, where
yeah.
it was like it would go green for a few minutes during the day, and it's like this just isn't going to hold, and then it ends the day down 3%. And so we were in puts for 317, which meant you can, I mean, you could just take the profit if you want, but you can hold some if you have some idea, you have a plan, you have conviction in the move. You hold some, and then it finally broke down, through 60, and here we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, with you on the intraday stuff.
Um, man, it's funny you bring that one up because both Net and you,
Hmm.
I have pretty good I mean, I have TA levels I trust on that, and
Yeah,
so I kind of like had a like a horse racing bet, which one's gonna make my line first, and
yeah,
I mean, I should have just played the downside way out, like 6 months, 3 months out. Um, I mean,
yeah.
it's gonna cost you a little money, but I mean that's part of the game, right? But man, when some of these things get attracted to levels that we have both Flow and TA on, uh, it's pretty much a lock. It's pretty much a lock that we're gonna make a strong move towards there. The
Yeah, it
downside,
is, and
the the downside is
you,
always better.
it has been, and you can't play everything, but like when we walk away from Dash, that's actually
Yeah,
kind of it's a put signal. It is, and whether you're in it or not, like I with Dash, I was kind of, because Dash can be so explosive to the upside. I did not play puts on it, but that hit our like 68 to 70, and now it's 55
but it's
just a few
back
days
below my
later. So
entry. It's below the where I entered at. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So
that I
um,
don't. I mean, I do my best to kind of like explain why things. I don't just say
mhm,
buy this on Tuesday. I'm not that guy. But I mean, it's a feel. It's just a feel that you get after a while, and that's a great example. Like, how many pre ERs? I literally live by read the report and play the
yeah,
aftermath. But sometimes you just kind of get a feeling. I wish I would have had that feeling with Tesla. I mean, it's not like I'm perfect, but um, yeah, you got it. You gotta. It's that back to that timing's more important than price, right? It really is.
yeah.
That your time is more important. I mean, if your option price costs you double, but you time it perfect, does it really matter what price you got it for? And the same with shares. Like, yeah, if you time it right, does it really matter what price you got it for? I mean, let's use laser. If you got it for 650 or 7, are you mad right now? I mean,
Yeah, no,
you're
absolutely.
not.
And
And you missed
snow,
our level, and you missed our $6 level still. But
yeah, the snow leaps I posted a few weeks ago were a good example of that. I mean, that $800 price tag, that's pretty steep for for an option play, but it would have been much harder to play four $200 weeklies in four different trades than it was to just grab the $800 thing, and just all of a sudden it's 1,200. Then it's like, okay, I'll sell it, or I'll walk a stop up or whatever. And you just got time. Once you get to that 1,200, unless you get some catastrophic 10% down day, you're not going to lose your profit on that.
yeah,
So you have time, and with options, knowing when you want to buy time and knowing when not to should be based on your plan for the stock, not how much money you want to spend. If you're worried about how much money you want to spend, find a mid cap instead of Tesla.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
would say. Don't buy a $30 Tesla contract. Don't buy a $60 Tesla contract. You're going to play Tesla. You're going to put up some money. So that's part of the learning process too.
Yeah, not to get too off topic on that, but Lucid, back a little bit on the timing thing. Like Lucid,
Yeah, yeah,
it was all in our stuff. We're going up, and it made the great move. I think we got a 50% move out of that. But I got people on both sides now, still to this day, asking me. Well, the short one's over, but asking me to play it both ways. Like, should I be getting in it? And it's like, well, the move already happened. And then on the short side, it was like, well, what's your catalyst? Um, they did have a short catalyst come in with ER, so
yeah,
I kind of had to like eat that one. But you can't predict that kind of stuff. Um, but we are like down the street, around the block, and 3 plays later, and I'm still getting questions about Lucid because it's sexy,
yeah.
right? Because it's a
No,
sexy
right.
stock.
It is. Yeah, and it's just in no man's land to me right now,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I mean, I lean, I'm leaning down, but where am I going to take it to? Am I going to take it to 6 again? I don't, probably not. So it's 850. Could take it to 8, but you get a random green day and it comes back up 5%. So yeah, it's just not it's not in the good spot like it was where we
Yeah, I mean,
played.
and
So
if you're a true believer in the old market muck and unk here, I would just rest easy knowing that if Lucid ever gets in a good spot, we're gonna catch it before you and probably tell you. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
I would just that's how I would really, I mean, really look at it that way. Like you're not gonna be before us on that thing. We
Yeah,
monitor it regularly and right.
yeah.
um, but yeah, we're past those ERs, and we have new news, and I think a lot of people don't change their thesis daily, let alone weekly, or even just when we get news. But we've had a lot of news over the last via ER over the first, last 6 weeks, first 6 weeks of the year here, and it's definitely changed the game a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like
Um,
the biggest one for me is um, that I notice is that Tesla gets good news, the rest of the sectors just die, and that's how it used to be, like 2017, 18. That's how Tesla used to be.
well, Tesla's good news is not something someone else can replicate. That's kind of how I look at it. Like
Yes.
the good news they get about opening a factory or production numbers, or they're making cars in like a Hot Wheels car and like a single mold or something, and
Mm-hmm.
like all that kind of stuff. Everyone else is just struggling to make 20 cars, or
Yep.
they're selling T-shirts or whatever. So
Well, even in
it's hard.
a more I guess a tougher sector, Netflix is the same way. I mean, they have better competition than the EV sector, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you get Disney and all that stuff, Warner Brothers, all that stuff, and Fubu. Shout out Fubu tomorrow.
yeah.
But but even in like that, like it's holding and doing well, and everything else is Disney's kind of dying right now, right? Different kind of
Yeah,
worms,
it
but
is, and Roku.
yes, there we go.
Roku has physical products too, which is bad right now.
Yeah,
I mean, I see that even like in underwear. If you got to store something somewhere, you're in some trouble. But yeah, they're a good example. They had a nice reaction off earnings. Just like Dash, though, they're just giving it right back because the problems are still there, and it can't hold up to like QQQ's falling down. It can't deal with that, even though it's not really in it that much. Like it's not like Roku some big percentage of
yeah.
QQQ, but it's just sentiment and mood of the market. It can't sustain over 70 right now. It's just not going to happen. So you either need to play it short or you wait. Waiting's the hard part, but it'll be good again. Just gotta get into the 50s and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then I think that's part of the stair step recovery is like I mean I'm again the hindsight's 2020. Replays are easy, but the blue chips are kind of the ones that are looking like recovering first. The names that everybody, no matter the sector, they're recovering
Yeah.
first, and then the secondary plays obviously are going to need a little more security in the overall financial sectors, world events, and geopolitical stuff before they come back. That's just kind of what I'm looking at now. I mean, but there's
Yeah,
lot of
exactly.
undervalued stuff.
We actually caught a couple months ago a really good short on Goldman Sachs,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
you
You
know,
did.
and
Yeah,
Goldman Sachs is not a stock that's going to drop lose 50% or something, but it's a good example. Like it pulled back heavy, recovered, and has stabilized, and so here as that happens, it's such a big stock. It's just more likely to work its way up and make these higher lows, and then we'll kind of see where we go from there. And other banks are kind of the same way. So yeah, I'm definitely with you on that.
yeah. You just got to focus on them sectors. Hey, well, let's talk some boring stuff over here. Um,
Yeah.
I'll say mine for the end because I'm gonna pick your brain a ton on that. But your standard copper and oil action. Um,
So yeah, so copper had a really rough day on Friday. Copper futures dipped below 4. So this is something I was waiting for, and isn't necessarily an indication that we're just going to collapse from here or something. But it's the reaction to this level. Are we going to come back to 4? Is it going to be something that tries to hold? I think the most likely scenario here is we work our way down to about 375, and that'll be kind of in the middle of my zone, and then we'll see if we work our way up from there. So that's the copper futures. Now, in terms of what that means for individual stocks, FCX has pulled back significantly here, and we're under 40. So kind of looking for that reaction to that 38 level, and we'll see where we go from there. And even if you don't trade copper, they're really important to watch in regard to steel and and some other stocks as well. So they're going to have it's a piece of the puzzle to me. It's not just flow based. I have to look at what copper's doing too. So X had some plausible puts down to like 24 or so, which is a line that I have. So I think just some caution with metals right now is warranted. And AA, once things stabilize, is going to be one of the first to just rip right back up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't necessarily like puts very much on these. If I do them as monthlies, and copper's kind of my spot for that. But I'm wanting to see reactions to our levels, but we're not at our levels just yet. So mid to late week, we might get there.
For us flat brain AMC GME traders, degenerates over here, what metals do those affect? Steel, aluminum?
So steel, aluminum, for sure. And that's pretty much it. It's not like the precious metals are kind of their own thing, but you do want to keep in mind that a lot of the copper stocks are also gold stocks. So, FCX does have, some relation to gold, but so my main list, X CLF for steel, and AA Cenex aluminum, FCX SCCO for copper. And then the thing to watch for in my notes, when I throw in some new one like that can be significant. And then the separate category is Brazil. So Vale, and then Rio's is a British company. It's in Brazil pretty heavy too. But those two that are foreign companies, they kind of do their own thing sometimes. So look at them a little differently in the notes. And Vale is not likely to see the same kind of big breakdown that you might see in some of the other ones. And if we could get Vale close to 15, that would be a really good spot. But I don't know that we'll fall that far.
Yeah, my problem is I already got 3 or 4 I like out them notes.
Yeah.
It's hard to add a new one when you already got ones you like.
Right. And the thing about the notes with the new ones is a lot of times it's like a go signal for the sector. Oil is like that. We just saw that with those exploration and shipping, like transport stocks. Like all of a sudden I got some word salad and collab I'm throwing at you. Usually that means that whole sector, and market cap in particular, small cap exploration, they're all going to go. So if you have one that you already trade, that's usually a good sign to, when you start seeing those new names pop up.
No, that's when I found that NGL. I was like, I'll go find one and see how it does. And yeah, it went a solid 35%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one nuts. That one was TA first because Flow's just now coming in on it. So
yeah, but it was just what you said. Find someone that does like the pipe side of the.
Yeah, right. We did that with solar a couple months ago. I'm like, find me some crappy penny solar, and a bunch of those went too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. You're like, find someone that makes screws and Phillips, size 4. I'm like, okay, all right, I got you. What about the oil? What kind of are we range bound on oil? It feels like we are. Not on my gas prices. $4 again.
Yeah. It's so I said that like I was looking for a reaction around 74, and we got that. You look at the daily, you had, I guess that's Wednesday, Thursday. You had these wicks that touched 74, um, moved to 76.32. Looking for an 80 test from here, basically. But that's the range, and I don't know that we're going to break out of that. It might kind of get a little tighter right here, and maybe we only go to 78 and then head back down. But flow wise, I'm not seeing a big breakdown in oil. So what you do, you look for the ones that kind of overdo it with the sell off, and that's how we found Cop. That's what we did with Devon. So that's kind of where I am. Easier to trade those than like Exxon. Exxon's holding up pretty well, but again, it could fall to like 105 from here. So I like some of our other ones better.
Devin, man, that fits them all. That's we'll talk about the next session, but it fits a lot of
Yeah,
things. You need multiple things right now, and it's hit checking some boxes. Um, yeah, I mean, I am biased every year that oil will go up from about April to August because that's when people go outside.
yeah.
um, I mean, that's just how I always look at it. So they should always do well going into the summer. Um, but yeah, I'll follow your lead on those 100%. Um, get a little before we get into spy here. Get a little pet rock mention. I haven't looked at it all weekend to be honest with you. Um,
So yeah, I mean that 25K
mhm.
rejection closed the door on the potential for a big explosion. If it had broken through 25K, like we would have seen HUD and all of them just go nuts.
Mhm.
It rejected there pretty hard. Right now, um, holding 23 is significant. As long as if it drops to below 22, it could get really ugly, I think. Um, but pretty stable right now. So what do I look for in this scenario? Um, I think that a stock like MSTR is going to continue to bleed out just because it just went way beyond where it probably should have, just based on what was going on. But then Coin, I like the upside on Coin off of some of my lines here. Like my 56.77 is the line I play off of it. But I think it's going to lose that and then fall to yours. And not to get too much into specific stocks here, but so what I'm saying is like crypto's kind of sideways, and not all the stocks are going to react in the same way.
Sure, sure.
Um, and so that's something you really want to be aware of, and something I'll try to address in my notes. And this is different than where we were very recently, which was just full send anything crypto. So you just want to be careful about these. Don't necessarily think you can just short them every day either.
Yeah, I'm undecided on them. They're all the good ones are at the level. So for me, I look at it different. Like Coin and Mara, they're like holding a higher level in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
Hut, I think it's Hut. Hut is under my level, so that's the one that interests me because I'm cheaper. But I need a reason. I need a trend change. And I need a reason to trade it. If not, I want these to fail too. Like I want Coin to go back. Or it's just not tradable in this environment without a catalyst for me. Um, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
You
Well,
do it
that's
intraday with
because
options, but it's hard for
yeah,
me to
yeah.
play the bounces um, without the
The
catalyst.
intraday bounces with options are, you know, you're up. You catch it off a level, you're up 40% in 15 minutes. But I'm not in $2,000 positions on something like that. So I'm
Yeah,
in
yeah,
$200 positions.
yeah.
So that's the kind of trade it is. And as reliable as my lines are, I'm not going to size up when a stock can go up 4% and down 8% within about 2 hours. That's not that's not where you go in with size. You go in with size at Coin at at 35 and then at 53 on the way up. Like, that's when you do it. So
Let's say
there's
I
scalps.
did go in with a little bit of size at 53, so don't be calling me out too much.
No, that's what.
But
No, I'm saying that's when you do it. That
yeah,
is when
yeah,
you do it.
yeah.
But
I
you
need
don't do it.
to be honest. I need $10 candle. I need a $10 range, 8 at minimum, so I can take $4 or $5 out of it. That's what I look for. That way, my 50 or 100 shares um, is profitable. I mean, it's worth the risk in that regard. Um, it's hard on these if you don't have a catalyst, but when there's catalysts, these are the best in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I
Do you,
mean, because you've got that BTC price hanging out there that it's like trading steel or oil. That's how I treat them. But
yeah,
they're
yeah.
more, they explode. They're more explosive, of course. But
I mean, I'm a
um,
big. You got to find stuff that fits your style. But if there was anything I was ever gonna say, if you can't trade this, you shouldn't be trading. It would be the crypto
yeah,
stocks because they legit. You have like a barometer that tells you, hey, these are gonna go up. Like it just in the short term, not as an investor, as a day trader. Like, hey, crypto just had a boner candle. Like this is probably gonna go up for the next 2 or 3 days. Um,
yeah, and they've been around long enough where, like with a crypto miner, that there's a BTC price where they have trouble keeping the lights on,
yeah,
and then it moves past that, and it's like, okay, we have some flexibility. We're making some money now. So yeah, uh, totally with you on that.
do you have that that Mara line on your chart still?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's why I want to know where
I
crypto's at because that's where I want.
I I forget to trade Mara unless I have that trading view alert, and it'll just pop up on my phone, and then I'll just remember to go back into it because that's a share side play for me. I'm just how I prefer to do it, but
Yeah, I like
yeah,
shares on that one, and yeah, yeah. We'll probably talk about that in the other session. Last but not least, let's take one on the chin here. Um,
yeah,
we both kind of, I mean, we weren't horrible on the downside, but we did think 400 was going to hold. We both kind of in that boat, and we both kind of seen the test of the top happen. And bro, it was all down last week, so we kind of missed that. Um, I,
yeah. No, we did. Although, I mean, I didn't like pretty bearish in
yeah,
terms of
yeah.
my plays, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no. I led because I mean I rewatch our stuff all the time just so I can retake notes off what I said.
yeah,
It works for me too. And I led it with, you know, 4 to 6 weeks of pain. Like expect this, and then I
yeah,
when we get to predicting the end, I kind of lean more on the TA side. Um, and yeah, I went with the TA. And it failed
yeah,
me. It failed, and I really didn't because 395 is huge on like the 1 year volume profile. I mean that's where we are. That's obviously the first
yeah.
stop. That's obviously going to be the first stop before we go down. But I got more pain. I don't know what you're seeing. Um,
Yes,
he said
yes.
yes.
Yeah, so here's kind of the deal for me. I've been talking about it for probably almost like 6 weeks now, but the 317, which is one of those monthly option
Okay.
expiration days, but that it has leaned bearish for at least 6 weeks. That they're, when it comes to upside, they're going either short term or they're going leaps as far out to 2025, which means they don't care what's going to happen in the next month or so that much. But in terms of like trying to nail a spot, like on the monthly, um, it's that those 317 um, calls, and those are at 380.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that we fall to 380. But if 380 is going to be plausible for March 17th, it means that we need to get into like that 390, 388 range. And so that's where I'm going to set my downside this week.
Which one?
And oh, sorry, yeah, I got to pick one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 390.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for my upside, um, probably like 402. I think we
Okay.
might be able to get there. So pretty big range this week.
Okay. I like your. I mean, obviously the top has got to be that 400 test. It did it 3 days last week.
Yeah.
The high point of that 402 definitely is. If we want a lower high, I'm gonna stay right at 400 on the top.
All right.
I just see us wanting to get it over with. Like
Yeah.
we're powders right now. Um, a lot of people don't got a lot left to lose. So I think the pain can come quick. If I do go to a TA side, I'm gonna go 383. 383.
Wow. Nice. Nice.
Um, I just don't see any positive news coming. Just none.
Yeah.
Weather sucks. Wars. We're gonna give another 2 billion trillion for the war. Did you see the? Did you see the? We've given more, or we've paid more, spent more. I don't know how you want to put it. Spent more on the Ukraine war than we did on Afghanistan.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's
And
flipping nuts. That's flipping nuts.
it's a chance to try out our new tech. That's my cynical take on it.
So
Just
I just
this is,
really
yeah.
yeah, I see the pouting market, just the pouting market. I don't. I'm searching for a catalyst. I'll type it in caps in chat when I find it. But
Yeah.
the next one is basically the Fed in 4 weeks, like with the next rate hike, and I don't think that's going to be good. I think they do pivot. Right, currently, I think they're going to pivot. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think we're pouting mode here. I think we're going to pout. Yeah, yeah, and I'm not gonna. I mean, that's $17 range. Um, or excuse me,
Yeah.
27. It's
Yeah.
$27 range. Wait, no, $17 range. You're at $12 range. So I got almost double the range as you. So I'm seeing a big day where we just kind of have not the crescendo like last year, but something
Hmm.
similar to that because we're I think that was this time last year. Right now, last year. I'd have to go look at charts, but
Yeah. I mean, what you're saying is plausible. I'm on kind of a 2 week time frame with it, but
okay,
I think
okay.
the end result here is going to kind of be the same. And the earnings this week, there are names that are going to move large, but they're not names that are going to lead a move. Like they're not Microsoft, Apple. Like Snow is a big stock, but it's not going to shift perception of the market even if they beat. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and then you get to the sexy names can kind of be saved with the ER. Like these other ones, some of these are going to be held to the fire this week. Like Rivian. Um, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the report, but man, how are they not going to get slaughtered? If
Oh, I
you're
know.
if you're
Yeah.
long term, that might be the time to start.
Well, right, and actually during earnings, if you get some just like big fat red candle that overdoes it, obviously, then you just can kind of just grab a few shares and sort of see what pops after that. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, it's
that's the play right now, Professor. You just said the secret sauce out loud, but that's it. Them downward
yeah,
overreactions are coming back. Their downward overreactions are coming back.
yep. And then they'll make sure to kill the options, so they bring it back
Well,
some,
hey,
and then if the next day it might go further down, but yeah, it's all about that.
it might be too early in the week, might not be waked up, but Starry Boy or Star Boy or whatever, um,
Yeah,
gonna get bagged on Clove because those are gonna be cheap. He's
yeah,
he's gonna get bagged there. Let me find another one to avoid. Uh, he'll probably try to play AI or Macy's because they're names and he'll probably get bagged
yep,
there too.
yep.
Um, well, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah, he put
man.
out 44p on coin as an earnings play. And I just like I'm sitting there looking at our levels, and I'm just like, just not going to happen.
No,
Just
easy.
no way.
You nailed it. I
So,
think 3 weeks ago about buying off of your account size. That's totally what's
yeah,
going on. I mean, 100%. 100%.
yeah,
I'm glad you started seeing that kind of stuff too because no one's gonna fool you anymore.
yeah. This is I'm kind of in a little bit of a ruthless phase on Twitter, but like my thing, I don't go after people for losing. I go after people for people's money,
Yeah.
and that's what they're doing.
Yes.
You know, they're filling Discord rooms to gamble with, and they're manipulative, and they deserve everything they got coming. So yeah, I'm
100%.
not stopping.
Yeah, and they don't work on Sundays like us.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's
They're
get to
working on
work.
Fortnite.
All right, let's get to work, P.
Yep.